Good evening. Welcome to my 1,654 subscribers. We are moving upward and onward. Thank you for joining me. I know I can't really see you, but I know you're there, and I know we are like-minded, or you wouldn't be here. You would not be drawn to me. There is an etheric field out there, an energy of vibrations that brings people together. Everyone that comes into your life is a reflection of some part of yourself. And now you may think that's not true, especially when the person comes into your life that annoys the hell out of you and gets on your nerves. Well, that person happens to be your best teacher. Yes, I know it doesn't seem possible that you could anyway be anything like this person that just gets under your skin. But there is a part of you that draws that person to you. Something about you is in that person, and he or she is just reflecting back to you what you are, so you can discover more about yourself and grow and expand. The universe is constantly in expansion, and you too are expanding. If you're not, you're contracting, and contraction leads to depression and eventually death. So I was reading this book today and I thought I would share this with you guys. I thought it was very interesting. It comes from a book that's thousands of years old. We're not sure, maybe 5,000 years. Of course, it's modernized so you can understand it. If it were in the original Egyptian language, we couldn't be able to tell heads from tails, but it's not. So here, I'm going to start reading. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and here we go. The majority of people are carried along like falling stone, obedient to the environment and outside influences and internal moods and desires. Think about that in relation to what has happened in the last 3 years. Carried along by outside influences. A person needs to be centered and self-directed. Not that you completely ignore what's going on the outside, because as I said when I began this, everything that's happening in your outer world is a direct reflection of what's going on in your inner world. The challenge is taking time to stop, contemplate your life, and look within, and ask yourself how you brought this into your life, or how you created this situation. What is going on within your mind, within your thought process that has brought this to you, and what can you learn from it? And if you don't like it, how to stop it, because you are the cause and everything outside of you is an effect. If you go through life thinking things just happen to you by chance, your life will never get better. If you don't like the way your life is, you do have the power to change it. Trying to change outside circumstances and situations without first changing the inner is like trying to fix your hair by touching the mirror. It just doesn't work. You are the cause, and what you see in your outer world is an effect. Now let's move on. Knowing the rules of the game. Life is a game. Do you know the rules? Do you know how to play it? Do you play the game well? The above rise above the plane of material life and placing themselves in touch with the higher powers of their nature. Dominate their own moods, characters, qualities, and polarity, as well as the environment surrounding them, and thus become movers in the game instead of pawns, causes instead of effects. The masters do not escape the causation of the higher planes, but fall in with the higher laws, and thus master circumstances on the lower plane. They thus form a conscious part of the law instead of being mere blind instruments. Most people are blind instruments. They don't realize they have power to control their destiny. Now, you can't change outer situations directly. I mean, you can go out there and move things around, but eventually they'll be back to where they were unless you change the inner first. You're trying to change the effect, without first administering to the cause which lies within you. Everything is governed by universal law. These teachings are that man may use the law to overcome laws, that the higher will always prevail against the lower, until at last he has reached the stage in which he seeks refuge in the law itself, and laughs at the phenomenal laws to scorn. Are you able to grasp the inner meaning of this? Very important. Are you a victim of life, or are you a victor? It's a question to ask yourself. Are you working in a place that you don't like, under a boss that's a jerk to you? Now, it's easy to go home and say, I'm stuck here. I can't do anything. I got house payments. I got this. How did you get those house payments? You acquired those. You made the choice to get that, to buy that house. You have a car payment. You made a choice to buy that car. But you say to me, Mark, I had to have that car. Maybe you did, to get to work. Is this what you really want to do? Are you leading a life of quiet desperation because you are ignoring that desire within you to be something more than what you are? So every day you go to work at a job you don't like, under a boss you can't stand. Now, this was drawn into your life, I would guess. I can never tell because I don't know everything about your life, but because of some way that you feel about yourself. Your moods determine your future. How do you feel? Do you feel this is what you deserve in life? If you look around, however your life is, that's exactly how you feel about yourself. If your life is great, you have a family that you really love, or you're single and you enjoy that, everything's fine, then you brought that into your life because that is the state of mind that you are living in, the consciousness level that you have. You will never rise above the level of your present consciousness. The old saying they talk about, you can give everybody in the world $1 million, take the money away from the rich and give it to everybody in the world, and eventually it would be back into the hands of the original owners, we'll say it that way, because they have the consciousness of riches. Do you have the consciousness of riches or the consciousness of poverty? And I will tell you, I think it's much easier for people who are born in wealthy families to maintain and acquire riches because they weren't programmed with lack. If you grew up like I did, where in my younger years, I remember a couple bill collectors calling and mom and dad not answering the phone, or my dad telling my mom to lie to them, then you grew up feeling lack. Your mom and dad said things to you like, we're not the Rockefellers, money doesn't grow on trees, that money's going to burn a hole in your pocket, etc., etc. The bill's got to be paid, the money's going to run out. I mean, these things imprint upon a young mind, and then you have to overcome those later in years because you grew up believing that there was lack. But there is no lack. The only reason we have a lack anywhere is because of man's greed and because of your belief in lack. If you believe in lack, there's going to be lack. If you believe in abundance, then you will have abundance. And as I said, if you look in your outer world, it will be reflected by what your living situation is. And you can change that regardless if you grew up in a poverty environment or a rich environment, whichever it was. But I think it's harder for people who grew up in poverty because you have to change your subconscious beliefs. And you can do that through repetition, affirmations, visualization, because that's exactly how you got to where you are today. Maybe it was the repetition or affirmations of other people, but you formed your beliefs by what you heard, what was impressed mentally and emotionally upon you. And as I said, if that was lack, then you have a consciousness of lack, but it can be changed. And more than likely, if you have a consciousness of lack, you believe that you deserve lack, that that's all there is for you. But look at the world. Is there any lack of water? Is there any lack of leaves, trees, food? There is no lack. There are countries and places where people are dying because they don't have enough water, and people are dying because they don't have enough food. But in the world overall, there is no lack. Man created lack. That's where the lack originated from, the consciousness of man. Everyone, no, not everyone, a lot of people want to change the world. And who said it? Gandhi? If you want to change the world, begin with yourself, because the world is within you. You see the world within yourself. It's not out there. You experience the world within yourself. You don't actually see what's out there. You see that within your mind. When someone talks to you, you hear that within your mind. When you experience abundance, you experience that within your mind. It's not out there, it's in you. I'm sure some of you have heard the old saying, everything you desire is within you. You don't need to look out there for it. It's not out there, it's inside of you. I know that's hard to swallow. Many people are looking for love. They want to find that right girl. But are you the right man? Are you the right man? Could you accept that girl if you met her? And if you fell in love with her, would you keep her, or would you self-sabotage and destroy the relationship? Because you don't feel like you deserve to be with her. Your consciousness cannot accept the fact that someone could be that good to you. And you don't do this on a conscious level. You will find reasons to either believe she's cheating on you, or to believe that she's not for real. And the better she treats you, if you don't feel as though you deserve to be treated well, maybe because of the way you were treated as you were raised, you will see her as fake. It can't be real. You will be looking for things to prove that she's dishonest, deceitful, unloyal, unfaithful, etc. Because your conception of yourself cannot accept the fact that someone really does love you. Someone really loves you like you want to be loved, like you say you want to be loved. But as I said, if you don't feel like you deserve it, you will destroy it, and you will never know that you did it. Kind of makes me think, have I done that? I probably have. As a matter of fact, I have. I'll share a little short story. My first wife. I met her, and she was a beautiful girl. She was like the prom queen, voted best looking, most popular, smart, everything. And I married her. And it wasn't 6 months after I married her that I cheated on her. And that started a round of cheating and partying and other girls, and I had a harem for several years. Now, why did I do that? The girl I cheated on her with was not near the class of girl that my wife was. But yet I did it. I did it because I didn't feel like I deserved to have somebody like her. Now on the outside I had myself puffed up and arrogantly thought I was the greatest, but on the inside I didn't feel like I deserved her, so I found a way to destroy it. So we were arguing all the time, and I don't want to live like this, I told her, so I did the noble thing and I left her. Yeah, I thought it was her. Well, gee whiz, Mark. Do you think maybe that you were arguing all the time because you were lying and cheating on her? Yeah, that's probably what it was. But see, we make it so it's the other person's fault because we don't want to look at ourselves. We don't think that we could be the problem, but we are.